So it is currently downpouring outside and storming, and I didn't want to shoot a ladder safety demonstration video outside where it could be unsafe and I could slip and say fall on my head. So I'm just gonna do a voiceover of some safety tips that I go over with my painters to get them through ladder training, ladder safety, and just to show you guys what we go through here in the Okanagan. So first thing I go over with my painters is that they have the right to deny any unsafe work. Any work that they feel they're not comfortable with, I don't make them do. Obviously, sometimes some sketchy areas they might not feel safe in, so I don't want to push them in that regards. But other than that, to actually start off, I show them how to check over the ladder to make sure there's nothing wearing, all the feet are in proper position, everything's actually safe to climb on the ladder and to go up and down it. To pick up the actual ladder, I always tell them to contract it before they move it. Never have it extended when you're trying to move it because it's obviously very unbalanced that way. I also tell them to at least keep one rung when they are carrying it in between both their hands. This also is just for balance purposes. It's obviously more stable that way. I also tell them when to pick it up, that they can walk it up is a safe fence. So go to one end and just walk it up like they do monkey bars. And same with putting it back down. Putting it up against the house, I always tell them to have a foot on the bottom of the ladder and slowly lean it towards the side of the house. This is just to make sure we don't break anything, we don't go too fast, don't damage any siding as well. If we don't have the ladder arms on, we also tie rags on the very ends, tape rags, sorry, just so that we don't damage any siding as well. But I tell them that they should use ladder arms whenever possible, if they can, just so they maintain the safety. It's more balanced, feels more secure as well. Putting it up actually against the house before they climb, I check to see that they have the 4-to-1 method. That's the basis that I went through with all of them, and I drilled that into them as well, that they should have 1 foot out for every 4 feet that they're up. It's also equal to 75-degree angle at the bottom, but 4-to-1 is much easier. Another way to test that it's balanced and it's not going to move side to side is to go on the bottom rung and just bounce on it a bit. Just make sure it's not moving side to side. I also had them each go up and go back down and go through the basics of that before actually doing any work on it. When they're actually going up the ladder, I always tell them to have 3 points of contact, whether it's 2 feet and a hand or 2 hands and a foot, just to maintain the balance and to keep their hips within the actual ladder. I don't want them to fall and hit their head on anything, so I want them to be balanced and keep their hips inside at all times. If we're ever actually going up onto the roof, I tell them to have at least 3 meters or 3 feet or 1 meter above the roof. That way they have ample area to actually get onto the roof without the excessive ladder falling. I never tell them to face away from the ladder while climbing. We always want to be as safe as possible when we're on the ladder, and being face towards the ladder, face where you're working, and never reaching out to the side is definitely key. That's why I also place a lot of importance on ladder placement, because if they can reach multiple areas without having to reach too far, it's just more efficient anyways. So that's basically what I go over with my painters. When they bring it back down to move it, I always tell them to walk it down if they can't move it side to side. I also tell them not to jump on the ladder to try and move it side to side, because that could cause the ladder to slip as well. And that's pretty much the basis of it. Just making sure it's always tied down in the truck or car as well, just so it doesn't slip anywhere. And to be aware of your surroundings, especially with taller ladders when you're moving them. We don't want to hit any windows or any power lines or anything like that when we're trying to move it. So those are all the tips that I go over with my guys, my girls, my painters. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm sure you guys are all saying the same tips. Cheers. So that's the basis I go over with my painters on ladder safety training. Pretty straightforward stuff. I don't want them to slip and fall on their head or get a concussion or anything, so making sure they're always staying to those rules, sticking to them to make sure they're always safe. And I'm also glad Milton's okay.